पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं वातरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुकारो अन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षिभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ प्रज्ञानां शुप्रदाने स्थिरचरणिकरव्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्ठान् पुनरभिधिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् सुविधिमधुरभुङ्मायया भोजयन्नः माया संज्ञास्तुर्यम् परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। यो विश्वात्मा विदिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वमिति विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरभिशनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगतगुणगणः पात्वसौ न स्तुरीयः। We are studying Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad along with its Māṇḍūkya kārikā, and we are today going to study the 18th verse in the Advaita Akhyam Tridiyam Prakaranam. In the third section of Advaita Prakaranam, we are going to study the 18th verse. 18th verse of Māṇḍūkya kārikā, third chapter, third section. First we will read the verse and we will go to see what is told here. Okay? We already finished 17 or we have to finish 17? We finished 17, correct?
Already finished.
Okay, great. Advaitam paramartho hi dvaitam tadveda uchyate teshamupayatha dvaitam tenayam na virudyate. Advaitam paramartho hi द्वैतं तद्वेद उच्यते तेषामुपयथा द्वैतं तेनायं न विरुध्यते. अद्वैतं परमार्थो हि. Non-duality is the goal of a human being. Wherever you listen the word Paramartham, It means that the human goal. One needs to know we are not here to eat and have some pleasures and die. Every human being should focus on their own real goal. Incidentally, whatever things comes in our life, we can enjoy with our senses and pleasures. But when we come to know the reality, the goal of a human being, one should focus on the human being goal, human goal. Even though a lot of dualistic people were teaching the duality as the human goal. For example, reaching the heaven after the death is a goal made for one group of people. For another set of people, reaching to some other world. For another group of people, some other reality is there as a human goal. But all we can say, duality. They don't accept that non-duality is the one and only reality to be understood. Non-duality means, in a simple way, what is seen by me or perceived by me is not other than me. From the intrinsic nature of myself and from the intrinsic nature of the object which I perceive. This is called non-dualistic perception. Rasabhavam ekameva. The essence of both the subject and object is nothing but one. One needs to know from the teachings of the teacher. One needs to know that from the teachings of the traditional teacher. No other way. Anyone teaches duality can only give a temporary security in one's life. For example, talking about a deity by a person who is giving some talks in temple can give some temporary security. Believing on that Lord and doing some offerings gives some temporary security on oneself. Or after death, you will be reaching heaven if you do certain things here. This is also a temporary security. I am not happy here, but I will be happy when I reach heaven. This is also temporary security. But non-duality gives a total security by listening and understanding and assimilating and living according to that what you have listened. Total security. There is nothing other than me. Sarvam Brahmamayam. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. There's no other thing to attack me. There's no other thing to eliminate me. There's no other thing to cause some destruction for me. There is only Brahman which is free from death and birth, and it's me. This is the non-dualistic perception or the teaching. Advaitam. Where there is no fear, totally one will become secure. Advaitam Paramarthohi. Non-duality being the reality everywhere in the world, whatever I perceive, the non-duality is the only reality. Dvaidam tadveda uchyate. Dvaidam, any name and form, any object other than me, anything what I perceive, what I smell, what I listen, what I taste, what I touch, any object is called Dvaidam, other than me. Something which is other than me, I take into real. Dvaidam tat veda uchyate. Effect, product. Vedam should be taken here, effect or product. In Sanskrit, karyam. The karanam is Advaitam, the cause, and the effect can be any other name and form. For example, Shankara's stock example, rope is the cause for the superimposition of a snake or a stream of water or a stick. In the darkness, a rope can be misunderstood in any ways. It can be in any form, it can be misunderstood. Smano dharmam eva. According to the mind of a person, it can misunderstood it. The mind can misunderstood in any way. Dvaidam tadveda uchyate. So, for a superimposition, there should be something below the superimposition, and that will be the cause for the entire names and forms of my superimposition. My body is a superimposition because I don't know the reality below the body, the base of the body, so that I think that I am this body. Dvaidam. Tad veda uchyate. This will be the base for all superimposition, and a lot of names and forms are being superimposed on the locus which is called Atman. Brahman being the base for all kinds of superimposition. As long as we don't study under a traditional teacher, we take it as granted and we will impose any form on that Brahman. First of all, I superimpose myself that I am a human body. And there are a lot of human bodies. There are other living forms. There are water, air, other 5 elements. There are stars, there is a sky, there is everything. I superimpose different things in the world. Once you come to know after studying under the traditional teacher, what you will come to know? I am Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. I am the only entity which is Satyam. I am the only entity which is the truth, which is the base for the entire universe. Dvaidam tadveda uchyate. Entire names and forms what I perceive in the world, they don't have a realistic form. They are not real. They appear as though real, but they are not real. They are only product or superimposed form on the cause Brahman. But for the knowers of the duality, those who are ignorant towards the non-duality, those who are ignorant towards Brahman, those who are not aware of what is the reality behind the universe and myself. For those dualistic people, the empirical reality is also true. It is duality. And the ultimate reality is also duality. Both are duality. That means for them, duality is the ultimate reality. There is no other thing in the world like Brahman. There is only names and forms, and they are true. This is the ultimate belief of each and every Dvaitavadin. One who talks about the Lord sitting in the heaven, one who talks about the different lords in Hinduism, one who talks about the Jesus who is sitting in the heaven, one who talks about the Buddha or Buddhism. These people are confused. You can take them as means. The disciplines in the Buddhism are means for a person to get mature. The disciplines and the devotion in the Hinduism can be taken as the rituals for the purification of mind. Different lords and different lordesses are not true. There is only one Lord. To reach the one Lord, Brahman, we can connect with any lords. That is why even Hinduism can be a misunderstood idea. Nedam yedidam upasade. The people who are connected with the different lords who are having name and form, they don't have real strength to make you to know the reality. So that is why Nedam yedidam upasade. Not all these things which are being considered as the Lord in the name, one in the name or a form. It may be deity Vishnu, Krishna, whatever it may be. So, for a Dvaidin, one who believes all these names and forms are true, for them, the entire world is nothing but it is real. For the believers of the truth, Dvaitavadina, they believe that the world is true. Other than Dvaitam, there is nothing exists here. Dvaita means there are a lot of names and forms. What I perceive in the world is true, the stars and the cloud and the sky. What I perceive in the form of elements are true, the fire, the water, the earth, etc., etc. What I perceive in the form of different names and forms are true. So, the entire reality is nothing but a duality. We need to know three types of realities. empirical reality, ultimate reality, phenomenal reality. What is meant by empirical reality? Empirical reality is that I accept you people are there to listen. There are some other human bodies which are in front of me and they are listening my class. I accept there is some food right in front of me, I have to eat that. I accept there is a father, there is a mother. I accept there is a universe. What I see around me is true. This is called empirical reality. As long as the body continues to accept the duality for the time being. Vyavaharika satta. Even though I know that there is no such thing called body because it's a constitution of 5 elements. Other than 5 elements, the body is not at all there. There is only water, fire, earth, and sky, and Agni, Jalam, Akasham, Vayu, Prithvi. The air, vital force. 5 elements come into a proportion and it becomes a body. But we see as a body. We don't see 5 proportion. If we analyze, there is only 5 proportion. 5 elements comes into a proportion in a compound. And every name and form what I perceive in the world is nothing but the composition of 5 elements. This is reality. But for the time being, I accept empirical reality. Vyavaharika satta. There is a body, there are some other human bodies, there are crows, there are flies, there are lions, there are elephants, there are stars, everything is there in the form of universe. It's called empirical reality. Now, Paramarthika Satta, ultimate reality. From the standpoint of Brahman, there is only one consciousness which is having the intrinsic nature Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam. It is the form of truth, which is the form of mass consciousness, which is the form of unlimited happiness. That Brahman, being the ultimate truth, Paramarthika Satyam, this is the ultimate truth. All other names and forms are just superimposed on Brahman because Brahman is formless. When something is formless, you can superimpose any other names and forms on that. This is called Paramarthika Satyam. The essence of all names and forms is nothing but one Brahman. Knowing this is called Paramarthika Satyam or Paramarthika Satta. Phenomenal reality. Pratibhasika Satta. You perceive certain things which never existed at any point of time. For example, in the full moon day, you perceive a piece of silver in the seashore. When you walk towards this piece of silver, when you take it that as a piece of silver, you find it out, it's only a piece of shell, which was shining in the brilliance of moon. You perceive as a silver, but it never existed even in the real world. This is called phenomenal reality, pradibhasika satta. Similarly, in the world, we assume the personality of different people looking towards their left, their dress, their luxurious perfumes, their luxurious cars, their luxurious ornaments. And we consider or we evaluate them according to our manodharma. They will have certain behavior, they will be having this type of lifestyle and everything. But when we come to know the reality, there is nothing such that which I assumed in my life regarding them. Just all misconception regarding some personality. This is called pradibhasika satta. I assume certain things regarding the person, but once I come to know in real, there is no such things which I assumed regarding that person. A pradibhasika satta. At any point of time, it never existed. This is called pradibhasika satta. So, three types of realities are there. One is the ultimate reality, which is Brahman, which is free from all kinds of limitations. Vyavaharika Satya, Satta, or empirical reality. This Brahman can be assumed in different names and forms. These names and forms doesn't have the reality. They never became any name and form in the world. Brahman didn't converted in the any name and form, but it appears as though there are a lot of names and forms. We have to accept that. Like, the tire is a rubber, a material called rubber. But we don't say rubber, we say tire, because the purpose of the rubber being converted into move. So tire without changing its nature, it is appearing in another form. This is called tires of aircraft, tires of buses, bicycle, anything. So here, according to the nature of the thing, without changing the ultimate intrinsic nature, it appears in some other names. This is called empirical reality. It has some purpose, but it didn't change into another name and form. So ultimate reality is Brahman. Empirical reality is you accept for the time being all these names and forms are true. Vyavaharika Satta. Phenomenal reality. Pradibhasika Satta. It never existed at any point of time. Even though you assume certain personality regarding the person's dress or the behavior, there is no such personality for that person. This is called phenomenal reality, pradibhasikam only. After seeing the movie, we imagine that the hero is like the person who is there in this movie, but it is not true. Hero is a simple person. Hero just made an appearance as though he's almighty in the movie. We don't impose the almighty towards the hero. Hero is an ordinary person. But in the movie, there is an almighty figure. And the people think that these heroes are almighty. That's why they are in the politics. They come to politics and people follow them. And he becomes leader. Even though he don't have any kind of capacity, he just superimposes himself that he is an ultimate personality. You call Pradibhasika Satta. You imagine certain things in a name and form which never existed or which never have such behavior or any type of qualities what you assumed in the person. So the dualistic people, Dvaitic, they really don't have any idea regarding the reality. Non-dual Brahman is the intrinsic nature of each and every name and form. They don't have that idea. They don't have that idea. Non-dual Brahman is the ultimate reality behind each and every name and form. This non-dual reality can only understood by studying under a traditional teacher, no other way. There is no self-correction. When you commit a mistake, somebody should point out this is a mistake done by you. Without the correction by somebody, we are not going to get it. Most of the people think that I will correct myself. There's no correction like that. For example, I myself take as a human body. The entire life, we commit a mistake that I am a human body. For the sake of human body, I have to do this, I have to do that, and the entire life I will be suffering. To make the human body fame, to make the human body have some pleasure, all these things I put a lot of effort. Human body is only an empirical reality from the ultimate real point. It's only an assumed idea. It is not existing at any point of time. It is not like a rabbit's horn. Rabbit horn is not something you can perceive also. But here the human body you can perceive. You perceive the human body and you accept there is a human body and you go along with the thoughts of human body. There are things for the enjoyments of the human body, and thus we go along with the thoughts of a human. But when you come to a traditional teacher, he will correct it in a methodological way. He brings the subject matter in front of you and he makes you understand you are not a human body. Father and mother didn't correct you. The people around you in the company or in your family, they are also not aware of this reality. Thus, one gets corrected by the teachings of traditional teacher. It's a long process, even though I told in few sentences. No other way. Because taking ourselves, I am a human body, I suffered already a lot. How much responsibilities I have to carry as a human body? How much worries I need to carry every day as a human body? How much difficulties regarding my appearance, regarding my body, regarding my family members, I have to carry all my life. Everything gets dropped at once when you listen, I am not this human body. As long as we consider ourselves as a human body, all the worries and sorrows also will be carrying along with that notion. Once you come to know that ultimate reality is Brahman, which is name and form, which is the intrinsic nature of mind, Just a human body is a superimposition. You give up the incidental forms. What is being incidentally superimposed? You choose the intrinsic nature of oneself. This is the only way to get rid of from all kinds of worries. And here it is told here, Tesham Ubhayada Dvaidam. For the dualistic people, everything is the part of duality. There is a Lord, there is a Bhakta who is a devotee, and there is devotion. There is a businessman. There are customers. The businessman will take some money daily from them because they are regular customers. And I go along with my thoughts. The craze towards the money, the craze towards the opposite gender never get to an end. That is why the entire world cannot perform all these values, including brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means you are away from all kinds of worldly distractions like money or a partner or a job or a life in another world or in another loka. Everything he drops. Why? These things are temporary in the world. As long as the body exists here, you can get connected with all these things. So one should get the proper awareness regarding what is the reality, what is the unreality. For them, everything, whatever they consider as real is also unreality. And all other things are unreal, but they don't have the idea these are all unreal. They consider that their teachings and all other things are real. But in fact, it is all unreal. There is no such thing existing in the world called Dvaitam. You don't take the Lord who is sitting inside the temple as real. Or a Jesus sitting in the church is real. Or the Allah sitting in the mosque is real. These are all for the sake of the people who enjoy getting some world and go through certain difficulties and certain happiness and they come back to the world. That is why there is no such thing exists in the world called Dvaidam. There is no other second thing in the world. But for them, there is empirical reality, there is ultimate reality, which is dualist, which is a duality. Dvaitam is real for them. Tena ayamna viruddhyate. But the non-dualistic people are not against their belief. They don't want to correct the dualistic people. The dualistic people can think about the world is true, the animals are true, the birds are true, all my clothes and all my experiences also true. The dualistic people's thoughts are not being corrected or not get a disagreement by the Advaitis. The person who know everything is one and the same real Brahman, they can consider any name and form their Lord. So, Advaitins are not against the misunderstood ideas of Dvaitin. They can go along with. But Advaitins will not put their hand inside that. And Tena ayamna virudhyate. Vedanta Shastra, the science of Advaita, the non-duality, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, never talks about non-duality is wrong or untrue. It's a pending understanding. You will get matured and you give up the non-dualistic view. These are all at the age of teenager, one can accept this world is true because I see all kinds of pictures. But after reaching towards the feet of traditional teacher, he come to know the reality, the world is not true. The essence of the world is the only truth that is called Brahman, which might be I. When I meditate in the world, I will be free from all kinds of distractions in the world, and I will be only connected with the non-dual Brahman. Because nobody made me study in the previous birth, I took a janma, a birth. And in this birth, I decided to attend a class and I started to know the reality. And according to the reality, the person's next birth will be decided. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam, Lord Yama tell to Nachiketas in the Kathopanishad. As long as you listen about the reality, the entire Janma is going to be eliminated for that person. That is called moksha, nitya moksha. When you listen that you are free permanently means permanent. The word shows that now also, before also, after also, I am freed from the perceptive standpoint. In spite of all my human body and their issues, I am free. That is why Advaita is not against duality. Advaita being the only reality, all other names and forms are just superimposed on the Advaita. Advaita never dies when the names and forms get distracted. Advaita never get a birth when the name and form comes into being in the world. Advaitam Paramartho Hi. Tesham Upayada Dvaidam. For them, the empirical reality and ultimate reality is true, but we are not against them. We are not against them. We are always along with them. Even though they consider the empirical reality and the ultimate reality is nothing but Dvaidam, the ultimate reality, knowers of the ultimate reality, Advaita Visharadaha. They don't go against their thoughts of dualistic people. Why? Even they are the product of the cause which is called Dvaidam. Advaitam. Advaitam being the cause and the Dvaidam being the product. Whatever they think, it is only the product of Brahman. So here, Tesham Upayada Dvaidam Tenayamna Viruddhyate. Now, we will see what is told in the Bhashya. Kena hetuna taihi na viruddhyate iti uchyate. By which cause, by which reason? The Advaita Vedanta is not against the dualist, is being told here. Advaitam Paramartho Hi. The ultimate reality regarding a human being is Yasmad Advaitam Nanatvam Samartasya Advaitasya Vedaha Tadvedaha Tasya Karyam Ityartha. Advaitam, the non-dualistic or non-duality is the ultimate reality. Still, the word Vedaha is told here in the form of Karyam. Tat Vedasya Tat Karyam Ityartha. The unlimited Brahman being the cause, all other names and forms are nothing but the product of Advaita Atma Tattva. Non-duality being the base for all superimposition. I remind you a logic. What is the logic? Without a object which is evident to you, there is no superimposition by you. Without seeing something, you will not superimpose on that. Something should be evident for the person to superimpose something on that. So Brahman being existing there and which is not known for everybody, they superimpose certain things on Brahman. That is why it is told here, there is superimposition, and dualistic people think that it is true, but the reality is no superimposition. There is only Paramartha Satyam. Even though it appears in different names and forms, by the grace of gurus, different gurus, I can see the Lord in spite of all kinds of names and forms. Without the help of Guru, you cannot perceive the non-dualistic Brahman in each and every names and forms. That is why traditional teaching is important. If I say you, the dogs are nothing but Lord, you will laugh because you are listening first time in your life. The ducks and hens are nothing but Lord. The goat and the horse are nothing but Lord. The peacock and the cock are nothing but Lord. All these sentences will be confusing. But in reality, when you study under a traditional teacher, he will give the insight. Each and every name forms are based on one single entity called Satyam Jnanam Anantam, so that the words and the sentences are true that everything exists here is nothing but Brahman. And here it is told that Adaha Tatveda Uchyate Dvaitam. And these products, these names and forms are the mass product of Brahman. Tesham. All these things are nothing but Brahman. Dvaidinam tu tesham paramartadaha cha aparamartaha cha ubayadamabi dvaidameva. Dvaidinam tu, for the dualistic people, tesham, for them. Oh, one sentence I already missed. Ekameva, I have to read. Advaitam paramartho hi yasmad advaitam nanatvam tad advaitasya vedaha. Even though the non-duality being the truth, That being the truth, whatever superimposed ideas which we perceive in the world, they are all nothing but the product of the cause of which is called Brahman. Whatever names and forms we perceive in the world, they are mere products of the Brahman. Ekameva advidiyam. What is meant by ekameva advidiyam? There is only one reality. Ekameva advidiyam. One reality. Ekameva. Ekam eva advidiyam. The three words. Ekam. Only one Brahman. Eva. There is no other type of Brahman. Advidiyam. There is no other species other than Brahman, or there is no other parts for Brahman. Sajadiya, Vijadiya, Sogada, Veda, Rahita. We already mentioned in some other classes before. There is only one single entity which is the base of universe. From this Brahman, Tat Tejaha Asrajada iti Shrutehe. From this Brahman only, the all elements came out. It's also told in some other Upanishads. Upapattehe cha. Logically, it fit that. Swa Chittasya Swachittasya Spandana abhave samadau murchayam sushuptau cha abhavat. As long as the mind is aware of the world, there are a lot of things around me in the waking state. But when I go to deep sleep, when I go to coma, or when I go to samadhi, controlling all my senses and my mind, and I go to samadhi, there is no other names and forms in the world, even in the deep sleep, even in the coma, or even in the samadhi. Samadhi means meditation. There is no names and forms other than me. Adaha tad veda uchyade dvaitam. That is why it is told as the product of the cause which is Brahman. Dvaidinam tu, for the dualistic people, Dvaidinam tu, for them, Tesham Paramartadaha cha Aparamartadaha cha Upayatha abhi Dvaitameva. For them, the ultimate reality is also duality. Empirical reality is also duality. Whatever I perceive is true, and we have to reach something other than I am. Ultimate reality is Kailasa, Swarga, etc., etc. You have to reach heaven for them. You have to reach some other places. That is why empirical reality for them is also true, whatever they perceive in the form of family members. Pleasures for the senses. The trees, the cloud, everything is true. Everything is true. All that what we see in the world, for them, they are not mere names and forms. They are all separate entities, Dvaidameva. And for as their ultimate goal is also somewhere other than this world. That is why the ultimate reality and the empirical reality both are duality for them. We will continue the class in the next week. We need to see very deep. Bhashya is also very deep. So we will continue in the next class, going well. Om Swasti Prajabhyat Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastastu Kino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shadini Deshoyam Choparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkhabhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadas Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om